Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I release a Legacy video every Friday. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by joining the Patreon. Here you can gain access to continuously updated documents like a sideboard guide, a primer on Legacy Doomsday, and gain access to the Neville Shoot Discord server. So come join the community at patreon.com/NevilleShootMTG. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the video. Hello everyone, Martin here, back with another Legacy video, and I am back playing Coveted Jewel combo. I still have a lot of faith in this deck, not so much in the sense that I necessarily think it is like a tier 1 deck or anything, but I definitely also don't feel like it is a jokey hokey deck. I think this deck is pretty good, and I think it is underplayed for a number of reasons. One reason might be that it is just not in everyone's taste. This is one of the better examples of Magic, of fun in Magic as a zero-sum game. I think it's pretty satisfying to play when you're winning. It's pretty satisfying to try and piece together ways out of tight spaces, but once you go off, it is very much you playing solitaire and your opponent not doing anything. Another reason I think is it is pretty cost intensive, and that is both a factor on Magic Online and certainly in paper. I think when I first recorded a video with this deck, I mentioned how I had wanted to do so for a while, but I just hadn't been able to afford the cards. Obviously, cards in digital form are a lot cheaper than in paper, but this is still not a cheap deck to put together on Magic Online. So, and then also, finally, and then most importantly, it is pretty clearly not like a broken deck. It's not skirting the limits of what the format can handle or anything like that. Otherwise, it would clearly see more play. So I've made a couple of changes to the main deck. I gave in and decided to try Preordain. I had a user ask me in one of the comments, or a comment to one of my videos, why you would play Preordain in this deck over Ponder, because isn't Ponder like the objectively more powerful cantrip of those two? And I think that's a good question to ask, and I don't want to say that I am basing my choice of Preordain on like a very sound footing, but my reasons for playing Preordain are that I think Ponder loses a lot of power when you don't have fetch lands. So the general rule of thumb with regards to Preordain versus Ponder is that Ponder is the best of the cantrips, at even better than Brainstorm, at finding one specific card. It does just says so on the card. It looks at 4 cards, where both Preordain and Brainstorm only look at 3 cards. So, and this is a combo deck, so I think there is some merit at least to exploring. Maybe Ponder would be worth a shout, because Ponder, like, we're not an A plus B combo, but we are looking for one of our coveted jewels or a way to get to it with the Transmute Artifact, for instance. So casting Ponder and digging for that one card that enables us to execute the combo does kind of make sense. That being said, Preordain is better at smoothing out the overall quality of the cards you draw throughout a game. Because we can't shuffle with fetch lands, it's going to come up a bunch of times with Ponder where you cast a Ponder, you see one card that you want, and then you see 2 cards that you really don't want. And then, like, if that one card that you want, it wins you the game, then obviously that's perfect. But if it doesn't, then if it's just like it is a card you think you need, it doesn't win you the game, it advances your game plan, but the next 2 cards are just stone cold bricks, then you probably have to shuffle. Whereas if you were casting Preordain in that spot, and then you would get the one card you wanted, and you would put the other 2 on the bottom of the deck. So That's kind of my reasoning. And I cut Lotus Petal and the 4th Show and Tell to make room for these 3 preordains. I was playing 2 Lotus Petal, and the Lotus Petals were mostly there to be something you cast after resolving or putting into play Paradox Engine. But if you are Transmute Artifacting away a Coveted Jewel and you find Paradox Engine, that is the most common way for Paradox Engine to come into play and then finish the game. You're going to have 1 mana floating. You make 3 mana with your Jewel. You transmute, paying 2, so you have 1 blue floating. And because Jewel is has a higher mana value than Paradox Engine, you don't pay anything to even out the difference from Transmute. So you're just left with that 1 blue mana, so you cast the Preordain. And honestly, in most cases then, if your opponent had a daze, it doesn't matter. Like they should have then dazed the Transmute Artifact to make you pay the last blue mana, because once you cast the Preordain doesn't need to resolve for Paradox Engine's trigger to untap all your stuff. Another thing that I kind of realized is that while, like, I wanted Petal because I was thinking, we were a Show and Tell deck. Having Petal and having 8 Soul Lands, you're going to have a non-zero amount of time where you can, like, turn 1 Show and Tell. But the thing is, you don't really want to Show and Tell that often on turn 1. I mean, maybe you do, but if you want to hear me out, the point is that casting Show and Tell and being tapped out to put in Coveted Jewel is only really something you want to do if you already have, I want to say, like, 2 copy effects, like 2 copies of either of some combination of Phyrexian, Metamorph, Copy Artifact, and Transmute Artifact. If you have 1, it is still, you can probably do it. But the thing is, if your opponent puts in a creature, basically, that's the whole thing, and you put in the Coveted Jewel, you draw 3 cards, you brick, you don't draw a copy effect, you just have to pass a turn, and now your opponent gets to, like, take your Jewel, draw 3 cards, and that's not something you want to do. So I think, like, a lot of the time you probably want to cast Show and Tell on turn 2 or turn 3 to get the Jewel in, where maybe you even have a little bit more mana. So if you hit, like, a stock up or a ring or something, you might be able to put that into play. Anyway, that's sort of my theory here. With regards to the sideboard, I have been kind of unsure about this Ugin. Maybe I'm just not utilizing it correctly, but I feel like I'm not really sure exactly where I want to bring it in, because versus blue decks, they have Consigned Memory, which is just really good versus this. But obviously, Consigned Memory is good versus our whole deck. I guess this is supposed to come in, like, when you are, like, you cast this and then you exile, like, a Collector Roof or something. But how are you casting this through a Collector Roof? But maybe there are just other things you want to exile. But I feel like we already kind of have Chaos Defiler that does that. I guess Ugin can exile a Marad Lash token, but that seems a little bit like not a reason to play it. Anyways, I've been thinking about it, and I've also been thinking that ideally maybe we would even want a second Chaos Defiler, because sideboarded games where your opponent plays stuff that you need to get rid of, you sometimes, like, get caught out by having, like, just drawing your Chaos Defiler, and then you can't really cast it unless you're already kind of going off with Coveted Jewel. Alright, I think that's going to be it for the sideboard here. Let's go play a league. Alright, we are on the draw here for round number 1. Oof, this is a little bit risky, but I think I will keep this. The land situation here is basically what's troubling me here. But if I were to draw a, what do you call it, a Coveted Jewel here, I would be happy to turn to Show and Tell, because I have 2 copy effects, so that's just what we were just talking about. But yeah, let's see. Opponent took them all into 6. Mishra's Bauble. Okay, so this is, I guess, Tempo or a Moon Shadow deck, which is kind of also a Tempo deck. Or or like 8 cast, but yeah. Alright, looks like we're getting... Okay, we're getting Dark Ritualed. Dothy Voidwalker. I don't think I care about that. And now what, they're going to Thoughtseize me? No. Bobble again. Okay. Now they're bobbling themselves. They already bobbled me, but like they're going to draw whatever it is, I guess, unless they can somehow shuffle here. Alright. Show me something good here. I'd take a Grim Monolith or a like One Ring or a Jewel. Those are my best draws. Another Force of Will. Okay, so playing out my Ottawara is a little bit scary because it's my blue card, but or my blue land, but I still think I'm supposed to do that. Yeah, let's go. Really worried about Wasteland here. And here comes combat. Nethergoyf, okay. Oh no, there's the Wasteland. Gross. Well, yep. And I guess I'll play City of Traders and pass. Not sure why. Maybe my best draw right now is the One Ring. But I am facing 2 Flip Delvers here. So, taking a lot of damage. Oh, yeah, this is just, I mean, all collapsing here. I could sacrifice a City of Traders to cast a Phyrexian Metamorph. But that's a lot of resource loss here. So what have they seen? They have seen Force of Will. I'm just going to pass here and discard Force of Will. I mean, yeah, it goes into the void, but I don't think that matters. They aren't, like, they are going to be attacking here. So now I'm at 5, so I need to, like, hit the One Ring, and the One Ring needs to, like, really deliver. Another Dothy, that doesn't matter. I'm dead either way. Ring? Ring-a-ding-ding? Nope. Okay. Well, that was disappointing. Alright. So we're up against a blue-black tempo deck. I think I need the Chaos Defiler. I think I'm not supposed to. I've been doing that before. I don't think I'm supposed to bring in Lodestone Golem. I think some number of Defense Grid are worth it here. So the thing about Defense Grid, it's obviously good against blue decks, but it's worse against blue decks that also has black in them, because part of their disruption suite is discard spells, and yeah, we just can't stop those. I do kind of feel like boarding in, maybe I board in all the grids and the Chaos Defiler, and then I just board out my 4 forces and 1 misdirection, and we try it like this. All right, let's go. Okay, this is a totally different hand here. So let's try this, and let's cast a Preordain. Okay, so I don't want the Chaos Defiler. I don't want another copy effect, so put those 2 on the bottom. Drawing a City of Traders is okay. And, oh, but hang on, they played Dark Ritual. I kind of forgot about that. Moon Shadow, okay. Why do you play Dark Ritual in this deck? Like, that seems very interesting. Okay, so what was revealed here? My second Preordain. Another bobble. Yep, that Moon Shadow getting big. Alright, so the Mishra's Bauble showed them what? What am I drawing here? Another Metamorph. Okay. I think I just want to... So I could cast Preordain here, and if they have Daze, then that is really annoying. But maybe Daze is going to get me anyway. But then if I make my City of Traders land drop, it opens myself up to Wasteland. It's worse for the coming turns. But the reason to do that is if they don't have Daze and I Preordain into a Defense Grid or a Grim Monolith. But I think I can afford to take 1 turn off, like 1 more turn off here. There is that Grim Monolith. I think maybe I want both of these cards, honestly. I'll draw the stock up. Maybe that was the one I was supposed to save for next, like, so like hide from a Thoughtseize. Okay, so they have Wasteland. This is Thoughtseize. No, it's another Dark Ritual. So now if they have Dothy, okay, it's Sparrow. Never mind. Alright, so I'm going to be taking a pounding here. I think maybe this is the turn where I attempt to... Oh no, never mind. I, for some reason, had it in my head that Grim Monolith was defense grid. Yeah, no, I'm going to cast the Grim Monolith here. Alright, so that resolves. I could Phyrexian Metamorph copying Barrowgoyf here next turn, if I feel like that is a winning move. Yet another Dark Ritual. Fascinating. Another Goyf, yes. And Stalactite Stalker, okay. And Disruptor Flute. Okay. So we know they can't have Force of Will, so the pathway is somewhat clear next turn. If I were to draw, like, yeah, let's see what they name here, but I'm going to have so much mana that I can probably resolve quite a few things. But I'm also, like, starting to face real pressure. So let's see here. I'll be taking 6, I go down to 11, and the next turn they have another 6, 8, 9, so I would be at 2. And that's if their Goyfs don't grow. Okay, and they named the One Ring. Okay, how about Coveted Jewel? One time, please. Oh, okay, and this grows the friend there. And it grows both of those guys. Yikes. And look at that. That is the One Ring. Okay. So what's my best move here? I could try and resolve the One Ring. Or, I mean, that would resolve. But it's going to cost me 7 mana. Which is... I have 8. But that's going to cost me my Grim Monolith. And then they wasteland my city next turn. I could also cast Phyrexian Metamorph. That also cost me my City of Traders, and then I copy Barrowgoyf. This has Menace. What else has Menace? These two have Menace. But that at least buys me a little bit of time. I could also pay 2 life to do that. Then I would be at 9. I take 4, 6. I take 6. I gain 4, but then I take another 4. So, like, that evens out. So I would be at 9. I take 6. Can they grow this like twice next turn? And this only grows at the end of turn, right? Oh, but you can sack this? Yeah, I hate this card. We could also try and cast Stock Up here. So we have 8 mana. If we cast Stock Up and we find like Grim Monolith and... or even just find like Transmute Artifact, could that be a thing? I think I'm going to try that. There is Transmute Artifact, but I don't have enough mana for that. Ugh. I could transmute and get rid of and find Chaos Engine or Chaos Defiler. So we made our land drop. So if I take transmute plus what? Plus a land. This is gonna be awfully tight. And I can't afford to copy artifact anything because that'll cost me one of my 2 blue mana. So let me just make sure here. Let's run this through. I have 5 mana. So I tap 2 to cast Transmute Artifact. And then I have 3 mana from the Grim Monolith. I get Chaos Defiler that costs 5, so I have to pay the difference with 3. Well, I think one of these cards has to be Transmute Artifact, and then it's probably still not even good enough. Can I afford to take 2 damage of an Ancient Tomb next turn is the question. Probably not. Am I even alive next turn? So I'll be taking 4... Oh no, so I get the Chaos Filer that kills, say, the Barrowgoyf. The next turn, these 2, the Moon Shadow is coming in. Maybe I'm supposed to kill the Moon Shadow on the Chaos Filer, and then I block Barrowgoyf. Then my creature dies. That also takes out something. Maybe that takes out the Disruptor Flute. And that's maybe a little bit interesting. All right. let's take the basic island. We have to tap this because you have to have it tapped before the Transmute Artifact resolves. You won't get to tap it when you've sacrificed it, or before you sacrifice it. If they daze me here, then that gets it. That's good enough, I think. 'Cause, I won't be able to get the Chaos Defiler. All right, so we got to make the play. We get Chaos Defiler. We pay the 6 3 mana difference, and then we kill. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be Moonshadow, and then we pass. That grew the Goyfs, so that's a little bit scary. Like, if they don't mess with our hand here and they don't have a counterspell, then I think if I get to Chaos to file away the Disruptor Flute, then I can like cast the One Ring, and then I have multiple copy effects. I could like really try and dig my way out of it, but it's a lot to ask. And by the looks of it, I am taking at least 7 damage here. Oh, they're only attacking with this guy. Okay. Well, that's kind of interesting. That's very interesting because now my Chaos Defiler can get copied. Okay. So let's try that, huh? Alright, I'm going to copy my Chaos Defiler. And I'm going to... What am I going to destroy here? I think it has to be Barrowgoyf. Because now I have 2 creatures, I can double block the Stalactite Stalker. Wow, they concede! I did not expect to dig out of that one. Okay. Do they even have counterspells? I have not seen, like in both games, they just emptied out their hand with Dark Rituals. And I've actually not seen any blue cards. But I've seen Underground Sea in both games. That's super weird. I think I'm actually going to board back in the counterspells, and I'm going to board out the defense grids. That is obviously super annoyingly, you know, not good if it turns out that they have that they're just packing counterspells and somehow just like drew the wrong half of their deck. So I think I'm going to bring in 1 copy of Lodestone Golem for 1 copy of the One Ring, so we can get Lodestone Golem with the Transmute Artifact. They are a Dark Ritual deck, and it's not impossible that ends up being important. Can I keep a hand like this? I don't think so. I think I have to mulligan this super awkward mana base hand with double force. If I was up against like a pure combo deck, I would keep it. All right, they keep 7. I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, let's keep this. And I think we get rid of a City of Traders, and now we can show and tell in Lodestone Golem on turn 2 if we want to, which may or may not be good enough. Moonshadow. I think I'll force this. I'm not sure my counterspells are going to do a whole lot else, and I think like not having this pressure on me so early is beneficial. Okay, so they get to see what we're drawing. And what is it? It's Chaos Defiler. Okay, that is, yeah, that's not so good to have in the hand. Another Moonshadow, okay. And Nether Goyf. Alright, well, let's see. Ooh, I'm drawing all the bricks here. If they are playing like Days and Forces. Okay, I'm gonna bring in the Chaos Defiler. They have Barrowgoyf. Alright, so what do we kill here? That's a good question, right? So I think we kill the Moonshadow. We can't block Moonshadow and it's small right now, but if we kill Barrowgoyf, Moonshadow grows. It's going to keep growing. We can't block it. Barrowgoyf, we also don't really want around because it's going to give them card advantage, but like we can block and then, you know, our creatures trade, and then I get to also take out the Nether Goyf. So yeah, let's kill Moonshadow. Like I'm kind of bummed that I had to pitch the copy effect because that was sort of why I wanted the Lodestone. Okay, they have a Dothy Voidwalker. They're not attacking. That's fascinating. Hey, look at that. This is so sick. Alright, copying my Chaos Defiler, killing Barrowgoyf, and gonna attack. Alright, pass the turn. Obviously, like, another Barrowgoyf is good for them here. Like Murktide, I don't know. Super Shredder. Whenever another permanent leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Super Shredder, and it's a 1/1 menace. Yeah, that is going to have to be fine. We take 3, because that's how Shadow works. But now I'm crunching in for 10. Looks like they're just taking it. They go to 4. I can cast Stock Up, but that gives them a Stock Up for free next turn. So I think I'm just not going to do that. These guys having Trample is also like a pretty big deal with them being at 4 life. It means like chump blocking is not really that easy. Okay, they found the 3rd land, so we have to hope they don't also have another Barrowgoyf. But at least if that's the case, we get to trade and nuke something. Wow, we got out of there. I seriously did not think I was going to win that game too. Or even now. But yeah, drawing copy artifact. Awesome. All right, on to round number 2. Okay, on the play for round number 2. Yeah, this is turn 2 Coveted Jewel, like through show and tell, with 1 copy effect right now. Opponent mulligans to 6. I also really like. This is the type of hand where I feel like Preordain is like so lovely to have. Obviously, if Preordain was a Lotus Petal, we could have cast a turn 1 show and tell. But all right, so again, I think I need both of these cards. I'm gonna draw the Grim Monolith. That's worth the least. But also, if they Thoughtseize here, they're not taking Grim Monolith. I would expect. Once upon a time, an opponent cast. Ooh, a Simian Spirit Guide. What is this? Oh, it's Oops All Spells. Get fucked. No, it's not. What is this? Archon of Emeria. That is a problem, my friends. How can I beat this? I need a bounce land, I think is the answer. Wow, okay. And how do I go about this? I mean, I can basically never ever put Coveted Jewel into play, because then that's my spell for the turn, and then they're going to take it with the Archon next turn. What I could do is I could try and angle for the One Ring. Alright, I think I'm going to play out this Ancient Tomb tapped and then pass the turn, because that's going to have to happen at one point or another. I could have cast Basic Island and then cast the Grim Monolith here, but yeah. Okay, so now they lose their 1 land, but now they have 4 mana, because we know they have the Spirit Guide. This is the seasoned, or some kind of initiative creature, I guess. Yeah, this is gonna get bad before it gets better. Okay, so they get to chunk us in for 2. Like, honestly, if I draw a bounce land, if I draw Otawara, or if I draw one of my 2, what the heck is the name of that card? Soporific thing. Sink into Stupor is the one I'm thinking about. Like right now. Oh, I didn't. Okay. But if I had, then that would have been great. I can take the initiative right now. Like I can copy the friend there. I think probably instead I'm supposed to play the Grim Monolith here and then pass. So we can Transmute Artifact for the One Ring, but that doesn't give us protection, and that just might just be too slow for us here, and now we're taking a bunch of damage. Do you copy counters? I don't think you do. Alright, so what do they reveal here? A Chrome Mox. That's probably not too exciting. So I'm taking 8, so I'm at 10. What is the hope here? How about a bounce land, please? Anointed Peacekeeper. Do I give them this or do I just concede? What am I drawing towards here? Yeah, let them do it. So if I were to draw Sink into Stupor here, I would still be dead, I think. Otawara, I could Otawara, or I could Show and Tell, and then with the last 4 mana I could Otawara the Archon, because it's not a spell. Obviously doing it the other way around doesn't make sense because they would just put in the Archon off of Show and Tell. Okay, they choose Show and Tell, so that was probably wise. The One Ring here buys me a turn? It's not the One Ring. And they can just give this protection from creatures and this flies, so if I copy Seasoned Dungeoneer, it's no good. Yeah, alright. Off to the sideboard we go. I think Dismember is interesting here, and I think Chaos Defiler is also good. I think Misdirection can get lost. They're a Chalice of the Void deck. I think I'm okay going down to 1 Preordain here. Let's try this. Bringing in Force of Negation, I'm not in love with because, like, 9 out of 10 of their threats are creatures. There was a time recently, and it might still be so, where like Stompy decks, like Moon Stompy and stuff, was playing Trinisphere, and if they were playing Trinisphere here, then I would obviously like Force of Negation, but I think just Force of Negation, looking at creature after creature resolving and Cavern of Souls and whatnot, it's just not that exciting. Alright, let's have a good one, please. I mean, this probably is good once we start drawing bombs. I'm going to keep this. Yeah, it's less than ideal, but we can counter something, we can dismember something, and then if we draw the One Ring or Jewel, we're sort of off to the races. Now they cast Chrome Mox, and you could make an argument that I'm supposed to counter that, because if they go Cavern of Souls, exit Spirit Guide, yeah, this can happen. I'll dismember it. I'll take like 1,000,000 damage, or 6 damage, to be exact. Come on, deliver. That was not it. Okay. We pass and pray they don't have a Cavern of Souls here. Yay, no Cavern of Souls. Seasoned Dungeoneer. Alright, I'm going to pitch the Show and Tell here. We don't have blue mana. We have 6 mana, so if we just draw any of our threats, we can cast it. But we don't. Okay. Let's pass. They have it all unlocked here. Caves of Chaos Adventure. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do here is actually I am going to kill this, and then I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to kill it. Yeah, that sounds good. It's going to, again, cost me a lot of life. Ooh, the One Ring. That's also really good. Is that better? I think so. Alright, so I am actually going to save a little bit of life here. I am going to cast the One Ring. That's going to make my Ancient Tomb not cost life. Maybe I'll draw a card first just to see. Okay. And like getting to copy this and taking the initiative is pretty tempting, but I think I will just kill this. Maybe I'm supposed to wait though. What happens? They attack with this. They get to exile the top card. So I probably don't want them to do that, but I also really don't want them to have like another Archon or something. No, I think I'm going to take this out. Pay 2 life, or 4 life rather, and kill it. And we pass. So I'm going to take 2 more, or 1 more from the ring next turn. I'll be at 8. And then Ancient Tomb can take me down to 6. So we kind of have to, get going next turn, I think. They go 2 to the top. Yikes. That is scary. And they draw Wasteland. Okay, so that's in this deck too. Okay, but they just pass. Interesting. Chaos Defiler, not great. Grim Monolith is pretty good. Alright, let's cast that and pass. They don't have Cavern of Souls even now, so we can counter stuff. What does this do? This gives them a treasure. Yeah, okay. That's not so important. It's also not Cavern of Souls. Under Mountain, dude. I think So let's see. I'll take 2. I'll go to 6 next turn. This gets them a turn closer to the Throne of the Dead, which we don't want. I'm gonna force, and I'm going to pitch Metamorph. Yeah. Alright, we take 2, we go to 5. Another Grim Monolith. Let's draw 3 cards. There is Jewel. So we have 1, 2, we have 3, we have 6, we have 7 mana right now, and a copy effect. I think that just has to be good enough, and it has to be now that we go. Let's cast Grim Monolith. I'm always just banking on their hand is nothing. And not like Mindbreak Trap or Disruptor Flute or something. Okay, so let's copy Artifact here. That nets a mana. We copy the Jewel. So another copy Artifact and a Grim Monolith. Let's cast the Monolith. That nets mana as well. And let's cast copy Artifact, copying the Jewel. So that's a Metamorph. We are getting into low life territory here. We can counter something over there. I could just play the One Ring here. I think I'm gonna do that. And I'll keep the new one so I don't take 3 damage. I guess I'll draw a card. That was kind of stupid. Should have waited, but I didn't. Alright, let's get rid of some of these basic islands here. Maybe actually I'm supposed to, yeah. Tell you what, I'm gonna get rid of both Chaos Defiler and Emrakul. So my hand, so they get shuffled in, so I do have the choice to get the Chaos Defiler. Or is that dumb? Like, how much mana do I have next turn? Hang on. So I have 3 jewels, that's 9, 12 from the Grim Monolith, 13, yeah, no, I'm not supposed to get rid of Emrakul. Okay. And I guess then I'll keep the Defiler as well. It's fine. Now they get to make a skeleton, a spooky skeleton. But fortunately that has summoning sickness. So as long as they can't, like... So this enters, and then they would go into the Throne of the Dead, so I'm going to counter that. And I guess I'll get rid of the Metamorph and keep the bounce spell, just in case I'm kind of miscalculated something. Alright, we take 1 damage, we go to 3. We play City of Traders. And so we have 3, 9, 6, 9, 12, 14, 15. And we cast Emrakul. And that's it. Alright, so we were off to the sideboard for the final game. I think that's pretty okay. This setup here. So I think I'm just gonna resubmit. Alright. So I think I keep this hand off of the strength of Preordain. Ironically, one of the reasons, or one of the things I like about this deck is that it doesn't care about Chalice of the Void. I think my opponent knows this, while they are a Chalice of the Void deck, I think they would normally be boarding out Chalice of the Void against a deck like this. But we're playing 3 copies of Preordain, and they have seen Preordain cast in both games 1 and 2. So maybe they keep in Chalice, and now I have a Force Will, so I would probably have to Force Will Chalice. Anyways, yeah, let's hope that doesn't come up, because I really need this Preordain to get this party started. They've mulliganed to 5, and they reveal Chancellor of the Annex. That is so good. That means I can't force. Oh, but they have Wasteland only? Oh my god. Okay, thank goodness. Alright, so where do we want to go here? So I could cast the Preordain now that I drew Ancient Tomb. I could cast Preordain just to like get rid of the Chancellor bubble. And then next turn I would just go Ancient Tomb stock up and we're sort of off. But I think I might as well then just count on them doing something that I am going to be casting Force of Will on here on their second turn. Okay. Oh, really hope they don't have Cavern. They didn't have Cavern. Okay, thank goodness. Undercity, dude. Okay. Caves, pitching. What am I pitching? So if I whiff on a land on this stock up, then I really am going to wish I had kept Preordain. Yeah, I think I'm going to pitch a stock up here. Chancellor Bauble happens, I pay. So their hand is Chancellor of the NX and one unknown. They have no colored mana right now, so that's kind of good for us. That could change quickly, of course. Okay, we find a second island. Happy about that. Gonna cast stock up. Okay, let's see. Second Force of Will and the Ring, maybe? Yeah, I think so. Any order, and obviously they can Wasteland us here, and then we're a little bit far away from casting Ring, but then we can cast Preordain. Wow, they concede! Wow, I got away with that one. Yeah, alright. Really happy to beat that deck. Let's go for round number 3. Okay, on the draw for round number 3. And I have to mulligan this. We're up against a Yorion deck. Okay, but no mana, so let's mulligan. And we'll keep this bottom the Emrakul, I guess. Kind of awkward to have force and no blue card, but yeah, it is what it is. Scrubland and Aether Vial. Okay, so we're up against like Esper Vial, something like that. That is a blue card. I think I lead on City of Traders here. If they have Wasteland, I would rather have a City wasted than Otawara. And if they don't have Wasteland, I get to go turn 2 the One Ring. Okay. All right. Let's play the One Ring here. It's going to cost us our city. Doing in this order and going for the ring means I'm like really putting off trying to resolve Coveted Jewel, but I think that's still preferable here. Okay, Force of Will. I'll force back pitching the Sink into Stupor. Alright, Force of Wills. Resolve. Okay, but they have Bowmasters, sure. Bowmaster is in. I draw anyways. I get a Metamorph, which is exactly what I want. Alright, cool. Pass. Just hope we don't get Wastelanded here. What was pitched there? Brainstorm, okay. I would also really hope to not get Teferied here. Okay, they put Yorion into hand, sure. We take 1, we go to 17. I am about to lose my city, take a bunch of damage here, but... oh no, never mind. I thought this was Sink into Stupor. But I am gonna be taking 2 damage. Let's hope they don't have another force. Okay. I copy Bowmasters, kill the Bowmasters, hope they don't have another one in hand because their Vial is at 2. And then, since I've made my land drop here, I don't think there's a lot to be gained from activating Ring right now. I'm going to give them the chance to activate their Vial, and then I'm going to activate Ring. Okay, that didn't happen. I'm going to give them a chance to Vial up to 3 here. They do. Okay, so now I can Ring. They could have like Hull Breacher, I suppose, but I'm not gonna be playing like Scaredy Cat of a Hull Breacher. So we are just completely choked on lands, but pretty good otherwise. Yeah, they send the friend here. I'm gonna block. I'm not jump blocking anything else. So might as well save those 2 life right now. Overlord of the Belshmerk. Okay, what gets milled over? Something, something. And they put Bowmasters back in hand, but their Vial is now on 3. So we at least can draw cards with impunity right now. Let's draw 3. Okay. I mean, this is not terrible. This is maybe at least going to be okay, but we'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Do I attack here? I mean, my Bowmaster's just going to die next turn to their Bowmasters anyways, so I think I might as well attack. And what do I give up here? So like next turn I can show and tell. All right, let's just go through it here. They cast the Bowmasters, kill my thing. They attack me for 2, I'm at 11. Actually, they attack me for 3 because this is going to be a 3, so I'm at 10. I untap, I go to 7. I play my land, I tap 3 mana, and I could cast Show and Tell, put in Jewel. Then Jewel draws 3, I go to 4. And now I'm tapped out, but I have the 3 mana from Jewel, so I could Phyrexian Metamorph. Take 2 more damage, go to 2. I kill their Bowmasters, but then it's all looking a little bit dicey. But what I could also do is, and maybe I'm supposed to do that right now, is play Copy Artifact. Yeah, I actually think so. So let's cast Copy Artifact. And if that resolves, I'm going to copy the ring. All right. And I'm going to keep the new ring. And then I will pass. I think they probably will want to cast their Bowmasters in their main phase. Oh, I guess maybe not. Okay, so they plow this. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just going to draw on their upkeep. And then, like, they can tap their mana now. I think it's fine. That extra ping, I don't think is going to matter. They can't ping me, so they have to ping their army. So it's going to happen anyways. Yep, there is the Bowmasters. I am Jack's complete lack of surprise. And I draw stock up. Second ping. Ring-a-ding-ding. Then next turn, they can vial in their friend, the Yorion. I would love to draw a Force of Will here. Sink into Stupor. That's also not nothing. Okay, so I think I'm supposed to Metamorph. It's Metamorphin time. This does suck an almighty fat one if it gets countered. So much so that I think I probably just lose right there and then. Alright, it didn't get countered. I'm going to copy Bowmasters. I'm going to kill Bowmasters. And then I think I'm supposed to pass because I made my land drop and I am just going, otherwise I'm going to have to go to discard. I don't think they have a 4-drop in hand, but maybe they do. Alright, let's let that enter play. Which enchanter? Which targets my artifact creature here? Okay. I mean, that frees up cantrips if they have any, but otherwise it's probably fine. Alright, let's draw a card. Or I guess 2 cards. Yeah. Alright. I like the City of Traders here. Again, like if I could find a Force of Will, that would just be amazing. Now their Aether Vial is up to 5, so now they can get out the thing. They can cast Yorion or vial him in, or her. So one thing that is actually a little bit scary here is the card Subtlety, because I have to be really cognizant of Emrakul not getting, like, quote-unquote plowed. Okay. Alright, so now they get to make another Bowmasters because they get to flicker the thing. Yeah, you know the thing. But maybe we can survive this. Let's see, because we do have another Murktide or another Metamorph is what I'm trying to say. All right, I go to 8. I'm about to go to 6. I have 5 mana. That was good. That means I have 6 mana. So let's say 6 mana. 3 to cast Show and Tell, and then 3 to cast Metamorph, taking me to 4 life. Alright, well, it all doesn't matter if they have a plow, or not a plow, a counterspell, but I don't think they do. Alright, let's, alright, hang on. Just make sure I don't mistap here. Let's cast a Metamorph. Alright, that entered play. It copies Orcish Bowmasters and gets a trigger which targets Orcish Bowmasters. Alright. Then we draw 3. No Force of Will. Bummer. So I could try and take a turn off here. Like, they were really pausing. I'm wondering if they have, like, a Force of Negation. Because they were pausing on this Metamorph. If they have Force of Negation, then I'm just dead. I'm dead to rights. But I guess that's going to be the case whether, like, regardless of what I do here. So I think maybe we're just supposed to... And also, like, if they have another copy of Bowmasters, but I don't think they do. Alright, screw it. Let's cast Show and Tell. No risk, no reward. Alright, we put in Coveted Jewel and cross our fingers. What's this? Recruiter of the Guard. Alright, hopefully that doesn't matter. If they get Subtlety, we'll have to figure it out. Let's see, how many Metamorphs are gone here? 1 is gone. 2 is gone. The 3rd here. Okay. I don't know what they could get other than Subtlety that makes sense here because they have 1 mana. Obviously, if they had 2, they go get the Bowmasters. It's easy. But then again, it doesn't matter, right? Because I'm going off now, so I'll get Force of Will at some point, and we'll be fine. So it's not even a big deal. They get Flicker Wisp. Okay. Maybe they have a thing in the hand, but then I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, we draw Force of Will. Let's start copying stuff. Going to copy Jewel. Going to draw a bunch of cards. Life is good. Play some more copy artifacts. And eventually I am going to... And that eventually is probably just going to be right now. I'm going to cast Transmute Artifact and get rid of one of my jewels. Get the Paradox Engine. We have 3 mana. Why don't we cast a Stock Up? We untap 2 jewels in a Grim Monolith and the One Ring. And let's get the One Ring and Transmute Artifact, I guess. And let's draw 4 cards. 20 cards left in the deck. Let's tap some mana. They haven't conceded yet, which makes me think they might actually have the subtlety or the solitude. All right, let's just make sure here there isn't some way they can get me with 1 white mana available. If they have the solitude, we force it. We just have to get rid of our ring. Let's draw 4 more or 5 more cards, I guess. And we tap, tappity tap tap, and let's cast another ring. Untap everything. We keep the new ring. And let's tap some more mana. And I guess, no, let's not tap any more rings. Let's cast Emrakul. Everything is untapped. And we time walk. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to transmute away the One Ring. Here's where you solitude if you have it. Get rid of the ring. I'm going to get my final Metamorph. That copies Emrakul. And we keep the copy, and Emrakul goes into the graveyard and gets shuffled away in and is safe and sound. So I'm just going to pass to my time walk turn. Okay, let's get rid of a bunch of stuff here. Show and Tell, don't need you. Don't need lands really, have so much mana. Guess we can get rid of some Transmute Artifacts. There we go. Take our Time Walk turn. And now they have Solitude. What a shock. Let's cast Force of Will. Okay, we attack. They sacrifice a bunch of stuff. I mean, the opponent is valiantly playing it out here, but I don't think there's much of a reason to, because we'll just get our Emrakul again. So let's tap some mana. Oh, we can start off with a Preordain. Yeah, let's get both of these. Tap a bunch more, play a ring. Okay, that drew the concession. All right, cool. All right, so we took game 1 against Yorion, Shimorion. I want Chaos Defiler. I'm not sure how much I want, like, Dismember, but having, like, one is maybe fine. We can get rid of Misdirection. Get rid of Misdirection. I think, honestly, I don't want Dismember. I'm not sure what they would be playing that I would care about enough. Like, I don't think they have a card like Archon of Emeria or another, like, really heinous hate bearer like that. All right. The opponent keeps 7. This is practically not a keep, but I will keep it. Grim Monolith is always good. They're passing. Interesting. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna play Snowcrower Island here. I don't know. You tell me, but I think this league so far has been fairly impressive at displaying what this deck can do. Like, beating, I think, fairly convincingly Orcish Bowmasters. Like, how many Orcish Bowmasters did I have to beat there? 3, right? That was the same one, but they kept, like, kept getting it back. And then there was the initiative match, which was also, like, I think fairly close. Deafening Silence. Can we? I don't think we want to play against that. So, okay, and that just resolved that force. Coveted Jewel. Okay, so we can try and cast Coveted Jewel next turn. We shall see if it ends up resolving. What did they keep? They kept a hand that cast Deafening Silence, but not on turn 1. Okay, now they have Hardcast Force of Negation, if that's the thing they want. Oh, the ring. I love that. That can bait out a force. We know if this resolves, they don't have a force or a counterspell. And if they do have one, then Consign Memory. Okay, sure. Yeah, then hopefully we can resolve the Coveted Jewel next turn. Recruiter of the Guard. Okay. And what are you getting? Boggart Trawler. Okay. Do they have Thoughtseize? No. Okay, but they were missing a black mana. Okay, Stock Up. So the safe play here is to cast Stock Up, I think. Because tapping out down my Grim Monolith is a little bit annoying. But I am going to go for the gold here. We also only have 1 copy effect right now. Okay, Jewel is in. And we draw more copy effects. Love that. We have the Grim Monolith. Gonna play that. And I'm gonna leave, like, having 2 blue mana is pretty clutch here, so I'm not gonna pay this blue mana I have floating. Alright, let's copy another Jewel. That draws us the Paradox Engine. That's actually pretty awkward. Yeah, because now that costs 5 mana instead of 2 with the Transmute. Alright, let's... Did I play a land here? Hang on. I have not played a land. So I could play a land and I would have 5 mana. I would have 6 mana rather. But that doesn't help me right now. I'm going to cast the second Metamorph and hopefully find a copy effect or a soul land maybe. Copy Jewel. There is a transmute, so that can get another... Okay, so let's see here. We could cast... Pay 2 mana, we would have 4 floating. We get a jewel, then we have 7 mana. We spend 5 to cast engine. I think this Transmute Artifact is just getting another jewel for now. Okay, I'm going to sack this 1 jewel and go get this other jewel. And what'd that get? That hit a City of Traders. So now we have 6, we have 8 mana. So I can pay 5. Yeah, okay, this is good enough. So let's play the city. We lose the city. That's fair. And so we tap everything. We cast the Paradox Engine. That leaves us with 3. We cast a stock up, and then we have everything untapped. So, and that should win the game pretty easily. All right, let's get Preordain and the One Ring. And I mean, there's no reason to play Emrakul right now, because if they have 4 cards, if they have something like double Mindbreak Trap or something, which obviously they don't, they would have, you know, done it earlier. But yeah, all right, sweet. 3-0. Gotta love that. Okay, let's go for round number 4. All right, so this is round number 4. I'm going to keep this hand. So this is nothing but mana and a show and tell, but that kind of comes to the same thing in this deck. But yeah, we basically just need to, at some point in the first maybe 3 turns, draw one of our 8 business spells, which are the 4 Coveted Jewels, the One Rings, or one of our 4 Transmute Artifacts to go look for, or to transmute away this Grim Monolith. So, I mean, we're dead to, if opponent is a fast combo deck, we don't care that much about Thoughtseize here, but we are just kind of depending on the top of our deck. Opponent is mulliganing, so yeah, I'm going to keep, let's see. Looks like they found 6 they like. And we're up against Oopsal spells. Okay. There it is. And I don't suppose... First of all, I don't suppose there's a chance the opponent doesn't just also have another Spirit Guide. Of course they do. Wow, this deck. Okay, let's have a look. I was going to say, like, even if they didn't, having to wait a turn, I don't think there's a card I could draw that would save me here. Alright. So they have 1 card in hand, so this is their entire deck minus the 1 card and the 2 Spirit Guides and whatever. Summoner's Pact. Okay, so this is a version with Summoner's Pact. That probably means, or that might mean, they have a Witherbloom Apprentice Chain of Smog combo. Anyways, let's just see here. There's the Thassa, and where do we have Dread Return? Not that it really matters, because they have Cabal Therapy. They can just therapy themselves, if that is the card that's left in their hand. No, Dread Return is right there. Alright, that's fine. I will concede. Moving on to the sideboard here. I do feel like we have quite a lot to beat up on what they're doing. So we want the 2 Force of Negations, we want the 2 Fairy Macabres, and we want the 3 Lodestone Golem. And so that's 8 cards. I feel like the One Ring is a little bit weak here. Not weak, but I mean, the One Ring giving us the Time Walk and protection doesn't matter versus this combo deck. So I feel like, and we're bringing in other, like the Lodestone Golems in that 4 mana artifact slot. And Lodestone Golem is just going to be so much more impactful, most likely. Let's get rid of 2 of those. Show and Tell is interesting. Like, if I Show and Tell versus them, and I have to pass, then they will likely be able to, like, they will, if they have a one of the creatures in hand, they can show it in, and then, even if it's the one that triggers when it enters, So their deck is flipped. They can just Memory's Journey on their upkeep or whenever, exiling the Jack-o'-lantern. Well, anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, it is. I still think like show and telling in like a Lodestone Golem is pretty good. I'm gonna board out one Coveted Jewel as well. Yeah, we just don't need to be that concerned about just going off, but rather locking up or locking out the opponent. Where does that leave us with the rest of this? This misdirection? Like misdirecting a Thoughtseize, I don't think we need to be that deep on that. So that's 4 cards. I think like the bounce lands, we can cut one of those, and then I'll cut a Preordain, stock up. Maybe it's the 3rd ring. I don't know. Maybe that's nuts. I don't know. I do think like we're just the control deck here, and then like oh fuck, I boarded an or Ugin. That was not intentional. That was sort of caught underneath the 3 Lodestone Golems. Okay, so that was definitely an oversight there. Fuck. I mean, I don't. This is so very nearly a keepable hand. It has Force of Negation that does the bad force against this deck. Like, if I had a Soul Land here, I would, at the prospect of being able to go turn 2 Lodestone Golem, but I think I have to mulligan here. I don't have the 2nd land. This also I don't think is keepable. I don't think this is keepable, is what I meant to say. Yeah, mulligan. Yeah, I'll keep this. And I will be a sad panda here. Opponent looks like they kept 6. Alright, let's get rid of one of the copy artifacts, and maybe it's the 2nd copy artifact. Yeah. Oops, I didn't mean to try and cast Grim Monolith. Another thing to get rid of would be the Grim Monolith, but I think if I am to have hope at a future, and not just be worried about stopping them, then I need this monolith. Yeah. Here's Lotus Petal, and a 2nd one, and they're passing. Interesting. Land. Nope, no land. We will pass. They're passing. Land. Nope. Damn. A soul land gives me Lodestone Golem here, which is pretty exciting. A Dark Ritual. I think I have to force this, because I can't force any of the creatures that are coming next. Maybe if they pivoted to Charbelcher, of course, it's better to wait, but they Pact of Negation. Okay. And they have the Spy. Okay. So we can stop them beating us here and now. And I think that's going to be good enough because they Pact of Negation. I think we can stop them anyways, but let's see. Alright, so let's see here. I just have to think this through. Also, let's have a look at this deck. What's the pivot? Is there a pivot? I don't see a pivot. So, 1 Thassa's Oracle. How many Dread Returns? I only saw 1 last game. There's a Reanimate as well. And okay, so look, they, where's the Jack-o'-lantern? Is that here? Yeah, here it is. So this card, if they have a Spirit Guide in hand, they can exile the Spirit Guide to pay 1 mana to exile this card from your graveyard, and then add a green mana. But I guess, and then they would be able to Memory's Journey is the point. Flash put that back. But they cast Pact of Negation. I think we got them here, but let's have a look. Alright, I'm going to activate Fairy Macabre. I'm going to target Thassa's Oracle and Dread Return. There we go. This should mean they lose, unless they have some counterplay. We could also just count the Spirit Guides here to see if they had one in their hand. Alright, cool. So we won. Uh, it's funny. I listen to the Eternal Glory podcast, and I know that Brian, Bryant, and Phil have all sort of been quite vocal about their dislike of Oopsal spells. And I think for the most part, I have kind of sided on the side of Oopsal spells. I've never played the deck, but I just feel like I guess I feel like the win rates just haven't been that bad. I will say I am edging closer to changing my position here. Not so much because of the win rate, but because I mean look at what this match has been like so far. I think there's a place for play patterns like that in Legacy, but I think it has to be attached to decks that are not uh, powerful or consistent beyond a certain line. Like back in the day when I started playing Legacy in 2012, there was a deck that was called Belcher, and it was a Gruul combo deck with Goblin Charbelcher and Burning Wish for Empty the Warrens. Basically, that was your options to win. It was super fragile. It was a complete glass cannon. But if it came up against like non-blue decks that didn't have access to Force of Will, it was very powerful. Um, but the thing about the deck was it was just not consistently ever putting up results. And yeah, if you played against it, it was kind of like playing against Oopsal spells. It wasn't very fun, but it happened rarely enough where I just feel like you run into this deck too often because it is a little bit too good for what it is doing. I don't think it is good enough that the results alone merit any action, but I think I am maybe edging towards like I kind of wish I played against this a little bit more rarely. All right. Anyways, having said that, I didn't see anything. But oh yeah, hang on. I need to get rid of the Ugin. We don't want Ugin. And I guess I'll take a Preordain over a One Ring. All right. Let's submit. What does this hand do? It casts turn 2 stock up. That's not good enough. And opponent keeps 7. Okay, I'm gonna mulligan. I'll keep this, and I am almost certain that I'm gonna lose here. Get rid of an island. Yeah, opponent with this deck keeping 7. It means they're able to win through interaction. Ooh, okay, they're passing. Well, I think I am going to play the island. Is that right? If I play City of Traders and I had like the One Ring in hand or a Lodestone Golem, then that would make sense because I could then top deck another Soul Land. But I think this just makes more sense. Okay, I love the time I'm getting here. Another Force, that's also very good. Okay, I think I'm going to stock up the Stonks. Okay, that was not very exciting. Third Force of Will, obviously, pretty good. Let's take the Force, and I think it's between Otawara and the Transmute Artifact. So right now I'm going to have 3 Force of Wills and 3 blue cards, but then no more lands. If I take Transmute, I can then shoot like Force 3 times and still have Show and Tell, or something else. Yeah, I'm gonna take Force and Transmute. Okay, any order, pass. Cabal Therapy, like immediately now becomes the most scary card they could have. Okay, looks like they're ready to go here. Balustrade Spy. Okay, I'm gonna Force of Will. I'm gonna pitch the Metamorph, I think. And now I want them to Pact of Negation this. Okay, they didn't. What was the exiled here? Spirit Guide. Okay, so it was at least a 2 for 2. Coveted Jewel. I have a copy effect. I think I'm just going to go for this. Show and Tell here. If they show in another creature, then we're just going to have to try and win right now. And because of the transmute, we know we can get a lodestone golem. Okay, so this entered. Alright. Spy targets himself. That's gonna happen. I can't stop that. I could bounce something with Sink into Stupor right now, but I don't think that's gonna do anything. Okay. Let's see. So Thassa's Oracle is there. Memory's Journey is there. What else? I see 1, 2, all 4 pacts of negation are in the graveyard. I really wish there was like a sort feature here so you can like alphabetize things. I don't see Dread Return. Alright, so what they can do is they can get to their upkeep and then they can cast Memory's Journey, but because they don't have any packs of negation left, I can force that and I just have to force it twice. But anyway, okay. None of what they do that can be done at instant speed here, aside from cast Memory's Journey. Like, they can't reanimate unless they're playing some sick tech. Here come the Narcomoebas, and I get to draw 3 cards. Maybe I'm not supposed to cast Transmute for Lodestone because I want to Force of Will twice. I do have my land drop here, so I could play Ancient Tomb. Then I could transmute away the Coveted Jewel, get Lodestone Golem, and then pay 1 mana for each time I have to. I think that's good enough. Yeah. Let's play the Ancient Tomb. That's fine. Let's transmute away Coveted Jewel. Is Lodestone Golem the preferred thing here? I think it is. Yeah, let's just do that. And pass. Lodestone Golem, double Force of Will. They can Cabal Therapy us here, but it's going to cost them mana each time. Now because of, like, if I don't know how many they have. But they're going to, like, it's 2 mana to cast the Memory's Journey. And they have to do it on the upkeep before they get to Cabal Therapy, so actually never mind that. So yeah, I think we got them here. The problem also, though, is they can change phases, so I only get to Force of Will once. But I guess it doesn't matter. If they don't resolve the Memory's Journey, then it doesn't matter. Never mind. Forget I said that. If I had nothing, they could, I think, because Lotus Petals don't cost extra under Lodestone Golem, so they Memory's Journey. Here comes Poxwalkers. Okay, and that is targeting Reanimate, right? Okay. There is no second Memory's Journey. We are go for launch here. Force of Will. Pay 1 mana. Pitch Show and Tell. All right, sweet. We beat the Pulse Spells deck. 3 matches or 3 games of high octane non-magic. All right, we're 4-0. Let's go for the trophy round. And we're on the play for the final round. Sweet. I mean, this is one of those. No, I think we have to keep this. And then it's a little bit annoying, but I think I need to lead on City of Traders to play out the Monolith. Because I can't get to double blue without making 2 land drops, so it's going to cost me later on. But if I top deck a Jewel or a Ring, the upside is too high, I think. Alright, opponent mulligans to 6. Alright, let's go City of Traders into Grim Monolith. That resolves, pass the turn. Wasteland, okay. Well, that's actually, acceptable, I guess. Copy Artifact. Alright, so I will cast Sink into Stupor here, or cast the land, I mean, play the land. And I won't pay life. Alright, we pass. Next turn, we can Transmute Artifact and get the One Ring if we want to. We can also copy Artifact, the Grim Monolith, and then get some real stuff going. But I think copy Artifact on the One Ring later might be more good. Alright, I think, yeah, I just crashed. What the heck? Oh wow, that was super weird. So basically, I lost my connection. I had just had a little bit of a chat with my opponent. I lost my connection to Magic Online. I reconnected. As I entered the game we were in, the client just loaded a little bit, and then I said I won the match. I have a suspicion my opponent also disconnected, and it was, and yeah, but then why would they concede the match? I don't know. This is weird. This was unfortunate. Yeah, like, I felt pretty good about my hand. I felt pretty good about the game. I don't know what the opponent's playing. Obviously, something with Wasteland, but we would be pretty close to like doing stuff here. It's not letting me draw cards here, but like, yeah, awkward. Hey, it's a trophy. I'll take it for sure. All right, so let's talk about the deck. I think this league, barring the unfortunate, last round where we didn't get to play, I think that the deck really performed. I think I was very impressed, especially in the early rounds, being able to dig myself out of beating multiple Orcish Bowmasters and just displaying how robust this deck really is. I think that's something that only really I caught on to later as I was like beyond some number of iterations of or repetitions with the deck. The first good while I played it, I was making some pretty rudimentary mistakes. I was losing matches where maybe I shouldn't have, and you just get to realize at a certain point that certain situations that look like probable losses aren't that bad. So yeah. Let me know what you think. I'm curious. I get the feeling that not as many people like the videos with this deck. So I appreciate you guys that keep watching. I apologize for anyone who's not that interested, but hope you'll bear with me. I think it's a fun deck. I think it's a really cool legacy combo deck. Uh, and yeah, hopefully this was enjoyable anyways. So with that, I'm going to sign off here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back with some more Legacy. Bye bye.